Hi, I'm Avery Amundsen, and I am an alto, but I can sing soprano.
I don't know what I am. Am I a bass?
I don't know.
How do you know?
I went to choir and they told me.
I didn't go to choir. I think I'm a bass.
I had a guy tell me once on a date that I told him I sang. Mm-hmm. He's like, "What are you?" And I said, "An alto." He's like, "I can tell by your voice." And I was like, "Oh." I
music guy.
Couldn't tell what that meant.
What do you think it meant?
I have a manly voice.
Oh, is that low?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Alto's low. Yeah. And we love things that are red. And today's guest is Tony. It's just you and me today.
Just warming it up.
I love it. So what is your red thing that you've got for us?
Today, we just came through election season, and we need some things that we can come together on.
Yes, please.
And I feel like this is something that crosses the political divide, but there are other divisions with it. We will discuss hot sauce. Today we're talking about spicy. We're talking about the hotness. We're talking about
hot ones.
So
hot sauce.
Okay, so the story around it, right, is I grew up in, according to Wikipedia, the most German town in North America.
So even Canada and Mexico.
I probably made that up. I'm going to say United States. Okay. Anyway, there's a giant German warrior. Okay, whatever. And I loved growing up. I love kraut. I love pork chops. I love all the dumplings. I love all the German stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. But in my hometown, spicy food was taboo to me. I didn't know that it existed really, other than my dad didn't like Mexican restaurants because it made his tummy feel bad.
And were the Mexican restaurants like truly spicy Mexican, or were they Midwestican?
So number one, that's a great term. Number one, there is the Mexican restaurant currently in my hometown.
There's always the one. Mine was called La Cabana. What was your Mexican restaurant
We didn't even
called?
have one. You had to go to Mankato, which is a half hour away, to go to the Mexican Village, which was... I love your term, Midwestican.
Midwestican.
But there was some very mild salsa there, so maybe that was introductory. So I didn't really, every once in a while, you'd go to like a pizza place and there'd be like peppers or whatever, right? But then you get out into the real world, and specifically, I remember the first time that I had Thai food, I questioned my parents' upbringing and how could they not expose me to this deliciousness and all of this flavor. And all of these, there's a whole world out there.
So the first time you explored into the spicy world, was it spicy or just a spice-filled flavor experience?
That's a good question. It started to grow, right? Because you'd start to be like, oh, there's a spicy salsa at Chipotle. I wonder who gets that or whatever. And then you'd start.
Anyone even order this?
Who's that for? And you'd start to try it. So the deal is, whether it's Thai food or spicy burritos or whatever, I personally love spicy food, but in part because of generations of Germans that have created me, my body cannot handle it very well. I get the hiccups. I get crazy, murderous nightmares from it sometimes.
Your food choices before bed, I love it when you come into work and you tell me about your violent dreams from your food.
I have a very, very big imagination anyway. Mm-hmm. Something about
the waters
spicy
are deep,
food.
Man.
We're touching the edge, man. It is the edges. So I hiccup like the small dog. And so it's this thing, and none of my girls, they'll do a little spicy, but not really. So what I want to talk about it was if you think about that balance, right? So you get out into the world, there's all these things that maybe culturally you are not exposed to, and then you get exposed to them, and you love them, and you want to be a part of them, but there's still a part of you that hasn't adapted to those things. So another example would be my friend Neville. He grew up, he's Indian, and he grew up in a Hindu family, and he converted to Christianity. And so one of those things that happened in that transition was he was now allowed to eat beef.
Yeah.
Or you'll hear this with vegans who had given up, they'd been vegans and they started taking meat. They can't really actually their body doesn't know
digest
what to
it
do
or process
with that
it. Yeah.
anymore. And there's these weird reactions, right? So,
well, it's the same thing as the reason why skin colors are darker is as you get closer to the equator, because they need to adapt to not get sunburned and have more melanin in their skin. It's the same thing.
I guess the cultural thing that's sort of interesting to explore there is well, what does that mean? Does that mean I should stop eating spicy food because my body doesn't like it? Or should I eat it more so that my grandchildren can enjoy spicy food in peace?
Well,
and you love spicy food. So let's talk about...
I do.
I think this can be a thing we can just... So this is where the divide is, right? You could have people of all different backgrounds, but like then there's like the spicy food people, and they're like the way not spicy food people.
Because there's different levels, of the spicy foodness. Because so I grew up thinking I was like straight off the boat Norwegian. We can thank my grandma for that. We love her. She had a bunch of Norwegian pride, Norway pride. My dad is supposedly 100%, and that would be amazing if that was true. But so like all of our family food around the holidays is beige.
Yep. Yes. Thanksgiving's coming.
Lefse, potatoes, lutefisk.
What's the flavor? Salt? That's the seasoning.
There's no flavor. There's none. We have to add it ourselves.
I love lefse.
And there's a place for that in my heart. I'm like, okay, it is Christmas when I look down at the plate and it's all the same color. But we have also evolved to add some just like culinary flavor to the plate. I'm very proud. Me, my mother, and my sister create an amazing holiday spread. Very proud of it. But so that is like my familial ancestral food background.
Okay.
My dad was always like, he liked things on the spicier side. He would go to Taco John's and get the taco. What's the nacho fiesta? What's the
Taco
thing around
Bravo?
Christmas? No, the thing around Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like the 3 colored tortilla chips.
Nachos Navidad.
Yes, the nachos Navidad. So I remember him getting nachos Navidad and getting like jalapeños on it. I'm like, whoa, my dad's crazy. My dad's so crazy. He loves things so spicy. And then as I grew up and started eating more spicy foods myself, I had some weird picky phases. Okay. And now I'm so not picky. I'm like, I will eat anything. I will try anything. But growing up, I think I've surpassed my dad in what spice level I can tolerate. Because now I'm realizing he's Midwest spicy, which is great.
Mm-hmm. But nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. And it's just like, I just want a little heat. I want a little flavor.
So where I want to go with this is like, I wonder if in other cultures, if this happens. And so the visual picture that I had in my head, right? So let's say you have some like Mexican kid that's had jalapenos his whole life, spicy stuff. He's just like, whatever. But then like he goes to whatever, a Cubs game, and he has sauerkraut for the first time. Okay. And then he's like, I love sauerkraut. And so I just keep thinking about like in the way that like I'll put hot sauce on my potatoes and I'll put it on.
Oh,
whatever.
sure. Like,
is there some kid in Mexico putting sauerkraut on his tacos and his mom's like, dude, just like my dad was like, we're not doing spicy food because it's not.
I want to find that kid.
Yeah. That's like, or are there other like, and is that where food evolves? Is like you try a thing and then you go, all right, I'm whatever, mostly beige foods, but now I'm going to put like a little pepper on it.
100%.
And then that's like the little connecting points of where, I don't know. It's the whole thing, right? Of culture, the cultural effect of food and the potential there.
Fusion, like every fusion restaurant, that's the whole premise is that they're like, my grandma made Japanese food but I grew up in Mexico. And so now it's Japanese Mexican fusion.
But what it gets into is like, now we're in this age, right? Where information is shared so readily. And so I guess my question or discussion is because of that, and even musically or whatever, like it's harder and harder to be a purist because there is more of this sort of fusion thing going on. Music, food, whatever your sort of art form is.
We're a melting pot, baby.
And I have this sort of both admiration and annoyance with purist. So like think about like if you're a punk rock purist, you're like, I only listen to punk rock. That's what I listen to every single day forever. And there's something like very honest and pure and like a deep sort of like loyalty and discipline to that. But then it's also like, but you're missing out on.
I was like, is that good?
And
like a full purist
of anything. This isn't. Yeah, this is just like the concept of being a purist.
I don't know if I'm into that because like, what's the point?
But then okay, so here's the dialogue about it. If you don't have the purist, it all becomes middle. Like it all becomes compromise and whatever. It's like you kind of need those people or those pillars of whatever ethnic or whatever background to like keep those traditions alive as they were.
Yes, I'm all about the traditions. keeping the traditions alive.
So that,
but if it's like, I guess what I'm coming from is I'm like, if someone's I'm using your music example, punk rock purist.
Yeah.
Is it, I only listen to punk rock and it's only the specific bands that I deem to be purely punk rock and I don't listen to other music and I don't consider other artists? Or is it, I'm a punk rock purist and so these are the artists that are punk rock and I love it, but I listen to a bunch of things?
No, the more radical, the first one.
That's crazy to me because you can still keep the essence of what it is and expose yourself to other things. That doesn't have to change the essence of what punk rock is. But otherwise, you are putting blinders on.
Right.
That's where, because I'm like, how is punk rock going to evolve?
And then it's like the whole like art design part of like, does it have to evolve within the parameters? Right? Or is it, and then that's the food thing, right?
Okay, Cowboy Carter.
Yeah.
Okay. I just said before we started recording that I know I always come back to Beyonce every episode. But Cowboy Carter, the whole country album, the idea is this country? Or is it in a certain set of parameters of what country is? And if so, what are those parameters? And can those goalposts be shifted? And if so, who's the one that can shift them?
Right.
That's the whole conversation. Because it's controversial because people are like, well, Beyonce can't do country music because this isn't country. Country is whiteness. And it's like, nobody wants to say that part. Or it's, I don't know. It's very interesting to me.
That's a whole other, because that's interesting, right? Growing up in the Midwest, when we did, I think you were just surrounded by country music. So maybe there was a little bit of this, like it connecting on a more personal level because.
I never listened to country growing up.
I didn't listen to a lot of country, but I remember very specifically I went hunting with my dad and I was listening to House of Pain as loud as I could in my headphones. And he kind of looked over with pity in his eyes and he's like, okay, he's trying to be a man or tough or whatever. And he puts on Johnny Cash and we listened to it going north to the cabin. And, you know, my dad and I are cool, but like we don't have a lot in common. But we had like this one moment of like listening to a Johnny Cash. So from that moment on, everything that, is it country or not, which I'm in no position to judge that.
Right.
Goes through sort of that filter. So yeah, so I guess tying this back to the original thing.
I know. I have so much more to say about hot sauce too.
Is that the healthy tension though?
I think it is because that's how art
you
evolves,
need purists,
right?
and you need them to battle.
Yes.
And you need them to question.
Yes. Yes. I am so on board with that because I think, and that tension brings art too, and that tension sparks conversation. But it's when that tension, when you lose the respect or consideration for everybody in that space, that's when it gets gross. But you need the tension. And you can be like, I'm a country artist and I'm not a fan of Beyonce. That's so fine. But if you're like, I'm a country artist and what she did is not country. Okay.
Then that's a different thing.
That's a different thing. Why are you saying that? What does that mean?
Who gets the parameters?
What are you trying to protect here? Because she did sing the country that you're used to and she crushed it. But I could talk. I wish Cowboy Carter had a red element in it. I think it does. I've thought about making a whole episode just about Cowboy Carter. We'll get into it.
You mentioned you had something more about spicy.
Yes.
Okay, go.
Okay. Well, just all the different hot sauces. Do you have a favorite hot sauce? What's your go-to?
There's a specific Trader Joe's cheap little red bottle that my wife picks up for me that it's thicker and it's jalapeno. So I don't really like watery hot sauce, and I'm not a ghost pepper guy. So thick jalapeno because it's got more flavor. Another point, the thing with hot sauce with me is it makes the flavor go deeper.
Yes.
So if it's
it's different. There are different kinds of hot sauces. Like, the watery ones are more like top note spicy. You just need that, like, I want that kick at the top of my flavor palette.
That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh, but you want the deep. Yep, and that's the
ghost
paste.
pepper.
That's like the pepper paste hot sauce. I like different hot sauces for different things. I like a tapatio.
You like know stuff about hot sauce.
So I like a green hot sauce variety. I need to have a green, a red paste, a red saucy one. So that's my tapatio, my sriracha. I usually get a green one from Trader Joe's, but some kind of pepper verde.
More for like chips or more for like cooking?
All of the above.
Whatever. Yeah,
you never know when you just need an extra dash
of
spice.
Keep eating the hot sauce. Just be smart about it, right? I need my message.
Well,
so the question that started this was, okay, knowing that the food affects me, but I love it.
Yes.
what do you do?
Keep expanding your boundaries.
Okay.
Is what I say. Chase after the spice of your heart. And the spice of your heart.
Message.
It is never a bad thing to broaden your horizons. How about that?
But maybe do it in a smart way.
Yeah.
A thoughtful way. Perspective of time, bedtime, my family being there.
Your body, how your body's going to feel. Respect your tastes and your body.
There it is.
And your gut.
And my belly. Love it.
Thank you for listening to Things That Are Red. This has been a Red Dot Labs production. For more episodes and information, check out reddotad.com and be sure to follow Red Dot Branding and Marketing on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody.